Extravaganza. I am Heather. I'm so excited to introduce you to your instructor today. If any of you caught our virtual extravaganza last year, it was our first class we were ever able to have Val from the Crust Club come teach us. And we fell in love with her before we had her in the kitchen, but once we were able to create and do some things in the kitchen, we were like, oh my gosh, she's just the best. And so I don't know if you guys are familiar with her company, Crust Club. I am a frequent user of it. I don't know about you guys, but food is 100% my love language. And if I have a friend going through good times, bad times, whatever it is, everyone wants food. And so Val and the Crust Club make it really easy for us to share our love through food. They have did it start out with the chicken pot pie? Okay.
Yes, so that's the first one.
They have pre-made pies that you bake at home, so it feels like I've done all the work. It makes your house smell really good, so when everyone walks in, they're like, Mom, you've been cooking all day. It's been so great. But here we are. Val's done all the work and makes us all look really, really good. Over the years, they've been able to expand and do dessert pies. Their coconut cream hand pies are what dreams are made of. And so I can only imagine how amazing this chocolate pie is going to be today that you guys are here learning. But we couldn't do an extravaganza without doing it with Val and you guys today. And so we're so excited that she is here. We'll chat and see all the things that she's been able to do. It's been fun to also see how you share your recipes, because I think so many times in businesses, recipes are like, nope, we don't share those things. And she's got this whole other side that she shares what she does in her family, with her family. And if you have not seen Theo, her little boy, I have 3 boys, so I'm good in the boy department at my house. But every time you show him, I'm like, I need one more. Because he's just so fun in the kitchen, and he's thinking exactly what we are thinking and wanting to taste and licking a spatula, and you're like, man, this is what creating in the kitchen is all about. So
it's a circus.
We love when you share this, and it just makes everything real life. So I hope you guys enjoy the class with Val today. Afterwards, we will be selling her books. You can take one of these and take them up to the front. We will have pie for you to eat. It will be so much fun, but this is like the perfect way. Whitney and I were just saying, we're making this pie for Thanksgiving. So if you guys don't have a plan so far for what you're going to be doing for Thanksgiving, this is going to be the ultimate pie to share, and no one is going to be disappointed in seeing this on the pie table this year. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy class today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I love teaching pie classes. I taught a couple before I started Crust Club years and years ago, so I haven't really taught since then. So I'm excited to be here. So real quick, just about me, I started Crust Club out of my home in February of 2016, and then we opened up our business, our shop, our location now in November of 2016, so exactly 5 years ago. And then in January, we're going to be opening up our first drive-through. It's going to be one of many, so we're really excited about that. I have a couple samples of our products right here. There's our chicken pot pie. We also do non-crust dinners. This is a chicken enchilada, and we have our little baby pie dessert pies. We used to make these pies, the big dessert pies at Crust Club, but we stopped for a number of reasons. One, they only sold during holidays, and we've really gotten really good at what we do on a daily basis. And to stop our production during holidays to make these big dessert pies, it just didn't go with our flow. But these little ones we make every single day. And so I really love all of my big dessert pies, but I was like, I can't give them to anyone anymore because we just don't make them. So I thought, I'm going to share my recipes because they're just so yummy and I love them so much. So this chocolate cream pie is my husband's favorite pie that I make out of all the pies I make. We used to call it the Rico at Crust Club because it's like, have you guys heard of Rico Suave? Some people have it, but he's like smooth and suave, and so that's why we named it that. But it's just a really good chocolate cream pie. And I make it with an Oreo crust. And so I'm going to show you how to do that really quick. I have 22 Oreos. I'm just going to food process of them. And I like to pulse it because you want this to be completely fine. You don't want to have any chunks because when you're eating your pie crust, you're going to have chunks of Oreo in your crust. So I just pulse it until it's completely firm. And And you can leave it on, but I find that if you just leave it on and run, you're still gonna have big chunks. So I kind of do a mixture of both. I pulse it and I leave it on for a little bit. And then I've got a quarter cup of butter right there that's melted. And a lot of pie crusts, you can add like sugar to them, like if you're doing like a graham cracker crust. I don't add any sugar to this because I mean, they're Oreos, they're already nice and sweet, so it's just gonna be the Oreos and just butter, that's all it is. And I've got an oven preheated to 350 degrees. We're gonna bake it for just 5 minutes. Really fast and easy.
Does it matter if you use double stuff?
I don't recommend it.
Okay.
It can change it. I mean, I don't really,
It's just super sweet.
yeah, this just works really well, and so I try to stick with just the regular ones. Okay, this looks pretty good. I love these little spatulas. They sell them here at Orsingini, and they are the best. So I'm gonna pulse it just real quick. Okay, this looks pretty good. I don't see any big crumbs. And then I'm just gonna pour the butter right in. And then pulse it really quick. You can see that it'll start getting on the sides, and so what I do is I'll pulse it and then I'll take it off and I'm gonna wipe it again because you'll get spots that are really full of butter and then you'll have some dry spots, and you want it to be mixed really well. So give it a good stir and then pulse it again. Okay, and that is it. So I have gloves that I'm gonna wear. I feel really weird touching food without wearing gloves because just working at Crust Club, we wear gloves when we touch the food, obviously, and so now when I'm at home and I don't have gloves, I'm like, what? I can't touch this food. This feels so weird, but I'm gonna use them real quick. Okay. You guys see right here. Okay, perfect. Just gonna take the little attachment out. And then dump it right into the pie tin. Okay, now with making your crust, you just want to make sure it's nice and even. I try to pat it down in the middle first and then work my way to the sides. This doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm a perfectionist, and so I will spend like a lot of time on this, but you can really get this done in just a few minutes. So what I like to do is I like to use my 2 fingers to make an edge and apply pressure to the side of the crust and the top of the crust at the same time. And so as I'm pushing it into the pie tin, and I'm also pushing it kind of down to create a really nice firm edge. And a lot of times if you just push it, you'll have like, it'll be really crumbly. I like mine to be nice and kind of firm, especially when you're going to be dishing it out so it doesn't completely fall apart. And then I've also noticed when we've made these with our employees, a lot of times people will leave like, it's really thick right here in the corner of it, and I like to make sure that you get in as much as you can because you're going to have less space for all of your filling, and you're going to have this really thick inside edge of your pie crust. So just make sure there's no holes in the middle, and then I go through and I press it up, and your crust is going to crack, but that's kind of just the process. Press it into those corners really well, just like that, and then go back again through and make those top edges really tight. And I just found that this works really well to make it nice and even. And then you don't want your inside to be too thin, so make sure that's nice and tight. Like I said, this is where I could spend so much time just going through and making sure these edges look really perfect, but they don't need to be perfect. Okay, then you're just gonna, you're gonna heat this in the oven for 5 minutes at 350. This one's already preheated. Okay, is there a timer on here? See if that works. Hopefully that's working. Okay, now we're going to move on to the custard, and this part is a part that I think potentially can be the scariest part, but it's really, really easy. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with, I've made this custard so many times in my life, and I just found a new technique. It's not in the recipe because I just did this yesterday as I was making all these pies. So normally you put all your ingredients in here and you heat it up and you stand at the stove and you stir forever because you have to heat it slowly so it doesn't burn. But it takes what feels like forever, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna see if I can make this go faster. So I microwaved my half and half first, and my filling went so fast, it was amazing. And so, like I said, it's not in the recipe, so write it down. So it's 3 cups of half and half. And then I tested it at microwaving it at 2 minutes, and at 1 minute, I really liked the 1 minute first. The 2 minutes went so fast that I felt like it was almost out of control. So I just did it for 1 minute. Let's see. I never know how to use other challenges just for 1 minute. Perfect, thank you. Okay, while that's going, I'm going to prep the rest of my custard. So it's going to be 3/4 cup of sugar, which is right here. And then it's going to be 1/4 cup of cornstarch. And you want to add the cornstarch in with the sugar. Yes, I am, thank you. You want to add the cornstarch in with the sugar because when you're making like a sauce, you usually add it in later once you've like put together your sauce and it's getting hot. You usually make a little cornstarch slurry with water, but this you want to, you don't want to be adding water first of all to your custard. And second, you want that cornstarch to mix really well with your sugar so that it's not lumpy. And so I add it in first, just 1/4 cup. And then I do 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then you're going to want to mix these together really well so that they, let's see, right here, you can't really see. Just whisk it together, and I use a flat whisk. This whisk, you can't really tell right now, it's kind of falling apart, it has rubber on it, but it doesn't have it anymore. But it is my favorite whisk in the whole world, and I love it for custards because it gets into these corners right here, and those are the tricky parts of the custard where it could like not mix very well. You can use a regular whisk. The flat whisk is going to be your best friend. I love it. So just whisk it together pretty good.
My mom used to do lemon meringue pie with her hands to get them.
Are you serious? While it was
And her
heating?
mom. Yes, while I was heating. She crazy. She's like,
That's like dedicated. Wow.
when it first started getting heating,
Yeah.
she would make sure it was mixed. She could never get it.
You can't
That's
get
why
that.
those are so great.
Exactly. These things I don't know how to
That
make
just
this up.
reminded me of her. I forgot she even did that.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
Just a comment.
Yes.
I'm wondering if that's 5 hours. It is not counting down.
So I did set the timer, and you're at 1:30.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm not sure, but
Thank you. That's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Glad you guys are watching that. Okay. I'll leave this here. Okay, so then I've got those 3 things, and next you're going to do egg yolks, and it's 4 egg yolks. Try not to use any egg whites. That'll affect the creaminess of it, so just do the egg yolks. And they don't need to be pre-mixed. These ones are kind of mixed because they were in this little container, but I just put them straight into the pot when I'm doing this. And then next you're going, don't mix this because it can make it lumpy, just leave it like that. And then you're going to add in your half and half that's been heated. And then, let's see if I can do this. Here we go. Okay, so I put mine at medium-high. You can do medium, I mean you can do low if you're really wanting to just spend some time at the oven. But I put mine at medium-high. The key is to just continually stir it and get into those edges because that's where it can potentially burn. But you shouldn't have a problem. It goes really easy. And like I said, if you have that half and half heated up first, it's going to go a lot faster. And I think the problem is when you're going so slow, it's taking forever, and that's maybe more when it's going to burn because you're like, okay, this is taking forever. I'm going to crank the heat up. But if you keep it at medium to medium high, and the half and half's already heated, it's going to go so fast that it'll be great.
You're at 5 minutes.
Perfect, thank you. So while that's heating, and just stay there, but if you need to run from it for a minute, it'll be totally fine. Oh, and I just put my finger in it. No? That's okay, it'll still be delicious. Okay, so there is the pie crust. And I'm just going to be stirring this real quick. Any questions? Yeah.
So you added your egg yolks, but that isn't on the recipe to do that. So is that where we add them? I just want to make sure I add it.
Yes. So so you do the sugar, the cornstarch, and the salt. Whisk those together, and then you add the egg yolks and the half and half together, and then you turn your heat on and whisk everything together while it's heating. And you'll see that it has little bits, you can't see out there, little bits of egg maybe, but the more you stir it, they'll go away. They'll just cook, they'll mix right in. Any other questions?
The goal is to get it to boiling though, right?
Yes, and it's just, I'll show it to you. You'll bring it to a boil, and then you boil it for 1 minute, and then it'll be done. So when we first started Crust Club, we opened right before Thanksgiving, and so we were going to make all these pies. And I'd only made these at home, and I was taught always do it on very low. And so when we were doing it for Crust Club, we're making in these bulk, like tons of them at once. And so we have these huge pots over low. And I just remember there, me and Liesl, she's our general manager, she's been with me since day one, just sitting there at the pots, going like this for like 2 hours, almost in tears, thinking these are never gonna cook. And we were just like, how are we ever gonna do this? We're never gonna make this. And it was just kind of miserable. And looking back, it's just kind of funny to see how far you come and learn. But now we have a nice big kettle, and it's heated with water. That makes it so we can do a big batch, and it doesn't burn, which is really nice. But at home, just when you're doing a small amount like this, it's really fast and easy. So you're just going to keep stirring it. This part takes about maybe 5 to 6 minutes, so it's kind of boring. This is when I put on like a little Hallmark movie or something and watch while I'm doing this. I like to make pies at night when my kids are asleep and it's just quiet and I can focus. It's the best. Okay, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you added your egg yolk to the mixture, you didn't stir, and then you added your half and half, and then started stirring.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be helpful to add the egg yolks to your half and half, stir that, and then add it in? Or does it matter?
It won't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like it's all going in at once, and so
Right.
I'm like, if you're gonna mix it, instead of having to mix it twice, you might as well just mix it all
Okay.
together here.
And it doesn't cook, right? It won't, you
No.
don't need to temper it.
Yeah, because it was just for 1 minute. Even at 2 minutes, it didn't cook it when I did before. Yeah, the 1 minute, it's just taking off that cold so that you're not sitting here forever trying to heat up that half and half.
That's brilliant, actually.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. That is.
I thought I was like, I gotta try this, and if it works, I just was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is like, why did I think of this years ago? What?
Cuts your time in
Yeah,
half.
exactly. Was there another question? Yeah.
You mentioned good quality chocolate chips. Can you give a brand name or what's your
Yes.
recommendation?
So, I use what we just get at bulk at Crust Club. I have like these big boxes that I brought home. I use Van Leer. Do you guys have Van Leer chocolate chips here?
I think so, yeah.
I think you do. But the guitar, any good quality. I wouldn't use Hershey's, anything like that. So with the chocolate chips, I've got them right here. I always use a combination of semi-sweet and milk chocolate. That's what we do in all of our mini cookies at Crust Club. I know some people are like, I'm all about the milk, and some people are all about the semi, but the combination is so good, and it's what makes this pie. So you can use one or the other, but I don't recommend it. It just tastes so good with both. So with chocolate chips are made to hold their shape, and so normally I wouldn't use them in a recipe that you're melting down the chocolate, but for this, they work fantastic, and I always have them on hand, so I've always used chocolate chips on this. And that's how we make it at Crust Club too. So other things, use a good quality other chocolates, but you can use chocolate chips for this recipe, which makes it kind of nice. Okay, this is getting close. I can feel it. If you ever are stirring this and you feel it sticking to the bottom and you're getting nervous, just turn your heat down. Turn it down, and you can do this at a lower temp. Just do whatever feels comfortable. You don't have to rush this, especially on your first time. You know, maybe plan a little extra time and go a little bit slower. Okay, this is thickening up. I wish you guys could see this. Okay, so it's coming to a boil. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. So now I'm going to turn my heat all the way down to low. And this is where you want it to go for a minute. And this is really important because if it doesn't thicken up, your pie will be soup when you cut into it, which we've done this before. I've had, we make all of our custards that go into our little baby pies, and we'll be filling them, and I'll be like, that is so soupy and liquidy, and I'm like, it wasn't cooked long enough. So just give it a minute. You want it to have bubbles. It has like big bubbles that are popping. If the bubbles stop, it's probably because your heat went too low too quickly, so maybe turn it up to like medium low, and then you can turn it back down. But just keep it over low for 1 minute. Sometimes the bubbles, perfect. Sometimes the bubbles can pop and hit your arm and are hot, so just be careful. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, Van Meer, these are perfect. Okay, this looks good. I don't know if that's in a whole minute, but I'm gonna turn my heat off. You guys can see that consistency, how it's nice and thick. So next what you're going to do, you want to do this right away because you want these chocolate chips to melt completely. Pour in your chocolate chips. So I've got half a cup of semi-sweet and half a cup of milk. And then I also have 1 tablespoon of butter. Let's see, sorry, I still got the wrapper on it. And it's really soft. Sorry. There we go. There's that. So I'm going to mix this real quick. Like a paper towel or a towel. So the key with this, just my hands, we've got butter hands. The key with this is try to get into those corners, those dang corners. Every time I make this, I'm always pouring my pie into my crust, and there's always bits in there that didn't get quite mixed, and so I have to stop and restir it. But if you spend a minute, just get really into those corners and mix them. Now we're going to add vanilla to this, and you don't want to add the vanilla in earlier because since vanilla is made with alcohol, it'll burn off the flavor. So I put the vanilla in very last. Thank you so much. Okay. Just so that you get all that really good vanilla flavor in there. So it's just 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then just mix it really good. I'll move this so you guys can see. Now that it's not on the heat. There we go. Thank you. Just mix it really good. Just take a minute. Any other questions while I'm stirring this? And if you happen to, let's say something happens and it gets a little overcooked or something gets stuck on the bottom and you have little lumps, you can, if you need to, pour it through like a mesh strainer to get those lumps out, and then just push it through with a spatula. That does, I've had to do that on occasion. But normally, at Crust Club we use induction cookers. It's not a gas stove. And so it has a different kind of heat, so it burns on the bottom so much faster. It's really temperamental to work with. So doing it at home, that rarely happens though, so it shouldn't happen. It should be totally fine. Okay, now I'm going to get my pie crust that I destroyed. And then I'm just going to pour it straight in. See if I got those edges well or not.
Forget the pie crust, give us a spoon.
I know, right? Well, this actually makes quite a bit, and I just usually use a regular pie tin, but you probably will have a little extra, which that's always like the snack that you have to have before this is set up, right? And so, oh, I got this pretty good. It's just nice and creamy. It smells so good. Can you guys smell that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then just spread it. Make sure you don't touch the edge of the crust. Now this next part is really important. You want to put saran wrap over it, because if you put this in the fridge just like this, it's going to form a, what's it called? Skin, that's the word. Like, I know the word. It's going to form a skin and be really gross. So and do it immediately. Don't let it sit very long because that skin forms really, really quickly. And you're just going to press it right on top. And make sure to get into those edges, because sometimes I found that like sometimes it'll like when you're putting it in the fridge, this will come up and then you'll have like a little edge that's not covered. So make sure you get it on there really well. And then you're going to refrigerate this until set, which is about 4 to 6 hours, or I usually just do it overnight if I'm making it the day before. It's the nice thing about this pie, you make it the day before, it's so nice and easy. So there's that. Next we do our whipped cream. I always like to make my whipped cream from scratch because it's just so
Do you want your
good.
bowl?
Yes, perfect. It's just, with this, the combination is so good, and it usually will hold its shape really well, whereas store-bought ones, they can get soupy and gross, and then your pie isn't as good. So I recommend making your whipped cream from scratch. This over here so you guys can see. Okay, so I have my mixer bowl and the whisk attachment in the refrigerator. You don't have to do that, but it really helps just to keep it nice and cold. And then also I have, perfect, thank you. You want to use heavy whipping cream. Don't do anything less than heavy whipping cream because it doesn't have enough fat content. This has about 36 to 40% fat content. And so if you half and half won't work. Just heavy cream, or just whipping cream, I wouldn't use that either. Really stick with the heavy whipping cream. So, this is nice and chilled. So you're gonna need 2 cups, which is 1 pint. So I'm just gonna pour this whole thing in.
We were all too greedy when we walked in. I'm like, oh, I was gonna order that.
Okay, and then you're gonna do 1/2 cup, a half cup of powdered sugar just to sweeten it up. Pour that right in. And then you want to do 1 tablespoon of vanilla.
1 tablespoon? Or
1 teaspoon, thank you. 1 teaspoon. I mean, 1 tablespoon actually would probably be good, but 1 teaspoon is great. Okay, and then you're gonna just mix it on low to start, just to get those ingredients mixed. And then you're gonna gradually increase as you go. And this goes really fast, so this isn't something that's like, oh, I'll let it beat for a few minutes and come back to it. Just kind of stay where it's at. Takes about 1 minute to 2 minutes to do. Okay, so I got on the full setting. Any questions while this is cooking? Pretty basic. Yeah.
Is the whipped cream to make the day before as well as store it in the fridge, or you want to make it like when you're ready to serve it?
You can do it the day before. It obviously is going to look better fresh, but you can make it and either save it in a container or in the fridge, or you can put it right on the pie. If you've just made the pie and you want to then just keep it in a container, and then yeah, you can use it when it's done. Okay, so I'm going to stop this real quick and show you what you don't want. So did you see how it kind of just came off there's not very much there, it's still really soft. You know it's not done because it's just super soft. You want this to be nice and stiff. So keep going. If you let it go too long, it can turn into butter. So just make sure it doesn't go, you want to keep checking on it. If that does happen, you can add some more heavy cream to it and remix it. I'm going to check it. Okay, that's looking pretty good. See how it's nice and it's sticking inside the thing. I'm going to give it a quick little stir just because the whipped cream on the bottom is going to be softer than the whipped cream on the top. And I want to make sure it's all nice and stiff. Go again for just a little bit. it's nice and stiff, and it's just kind of staying in there. So that's perfect. Just gonna get it off the beater. And then I did not think this through. I should have not whipped creamed one of those. So we'll put it on top of the warm one. It might start to melt, but we'll just, I want to show you how I do it. So take it off. And then I just put it right in the middle of the pie. And when I do this, I try not to let the whipped cream touch the Oreo crust, because then it starts looking a little sloppy and messy. But I just start from the middle. Sorry, this is going to turn into a soup. Sorry, you guys. I should not think about that. But I just start from the middle. It's going to come off. And I just fan it out. I'm going to show you on one of these. This is going to be pie soup. We're going to put this back in there. Okay. All right. So. Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we can stick it in the freezer.
I'm going to take some of this whipped cream that didn't get touched. Thank you. I got more of this too if you want a fresh piece. Great. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. So if you put it on the middle, I just work from the middle and I kind of do like a fanning out motion, just because I just think it looks really pretty. You can pipe this on if you want, but if you're doing the chocolate curls, I like to have a nice foundation, like a nice layer just for those chocolate curls. So, and I just like it to look a little bit more simple and homemade, I guess, right? So there you go. And then I usually try to make it not a hole in the middle. If you have extra, put it on top, and so it's like a nice even thing. So there's that. And then the last is our chocolate curls. Now, there's so many ways to do chocolate curls. I like to do it this way. I just think it's the easiest and the fastest. You can melt chocolate and make curls. I don't know why I can't get it to work. Or maybe it's just because I'm always like in a rush and I like don't have the patience. But this always works for me. I'm gonna put gloves on because the chocolate tends to get warm in your hands a little bit. If it does, you can just put it in the fridge for a minute. But I'm gonna put these on. These ones don't have chocolate curls because I was running a little late this morning. So I'll just show you here how it goes. So I just take this and take your vegetable peeler and just peel it right on top. And as your, sometimes they look more like little shreds like this. As your chocolate gets a little bit more warm, it starts to curl more. So you can put it in the microwave for like a second to just warm it up. But I actually kind of like the little shavings. And it just goes so fast.
We'll let you put more on.
Exactly, right?
That's curious.
You can see as I'm doing this, they're starting to curl a little bit more, and this is just whatever you want, however much you want. You can do a little or a lot. I tend to do a lot just because I like it. And there you go. Chocolate cream pie.
Wow.
So perfect pie for Thanksgiving. So much better than like the Jell-O. I think that's what my dad loves, is the Jell-O one. He's always had that, and so it took him a minute to like get used to this one, but like this is the way to go. So anyway, any questions about this?
What chocolate are you using for those?
This one is the semi-sweet guittard. Yeah, so any just chocolate baking bar is what I usually will grab. So I did have, I'll show you, I had this one. This is one I had from home. You can tell I've made a couple pies from this one. So. Anyway, I will get chocolate shavings on all these, and then we'll have samples for everyone to try. So
How's the best way to cut into it? Did you talk about that?
Cutting a pie, there's no best way.
Okay.
It's always just let's go for it and hope it works out.
I'm glad that's your answer, because
Yeah.
that's what I do. I'm like,
Yeah.
just don't look. It tastes great.
Exactly. It's what it is. So yeah. All right. Do we need?
Yep. We'll get some knives. And any other questions?
What's the chocolate shaving? Is that semi-sweet or is it?
Semi-sweet.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yep.
Awesome.
Awesome. Now give us just a sec. We'll grab some plates, knives, and we'll have some pie.
If you have any other questions, just let me know.
What? I mean, why did you start making pies? Like, what got you into this?
Oh, I've always loved making pies, but I actually had a chicken pot pie from somewhere, and I was really excited to have it because I love chicken pot pie. And I'd never made my own recipe because I was like, that's something that I've got to like really, like if I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it. And so I had one from this place, and I was like really bummed about it. I was like, man, I'm so excited for this, and it wasn't that good. And so I'm like, okay, this is my mission. I'm gonna make the best chicken pot pie. And so I did, and I made a recipe that I loved. And I used to have a recipe blog at the time, and I just put it on there, and I was like, I kept having this nagging feeling like you should do something with that. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull it, and I'm gonna make an Instagram account, and I'm gonna start making these out of my house and see what happens. And so I did that. I made the little baby pies, the ham pies as well. And I just started selling them out of my house to neighbors, and I started having strangers come to my house. My husband's like, this might be something. And he was he wanted to leave his career that he was in at the time, and so he decided that he wanted to do this with me, and so we just went all in and started doing this. So
That's awesome. Well, you did a good job. I think you mastered the chicken pot pie.
well, thank you.
Where are you located, like where can we buy them?
We're in Pleasant Grove, but we deliver to. These are the things that like my husband is over. We deliver to Salt Lake County, I believe, and Utah County. If you go to our website, you can put your address in and your zip code, and it'll tell you where to deliver. But we deliver, if you order by noon, we deliver same day. If you order by midnight, we deliver the next day, except for Sundays. And they come in refrigerated packaging so that you don't have to be home. So they can just go on your doorstep, and it's like contactless delivery, which is nice. You don't have to talk to anyone or tip anyone. It's great. So just what I'm about. So our drive-thru will be nice too, because like, how can we make this more convenient?
Well, it's awesome because it tells you like your order just got delivered. Like
Yeah.
there's a whole tracking. It's really
So
simple.
where is your brick and mortar gonna be?
It is going to be in Pleasant Grove, where we are right now. Our building right now is just off of State Street. It's going to be just around the corner. We wanted our first one to be close so we can make sure we can manage it and figure it out. But we're in the process of doing other locations as well. So be the first of many. So we're really, really excited. Yeah.
Okay, so I have two questions. The first one is like, what's your favorite pie to bake?
Savory or sweet? Either. Sweet. I don't know. This one, or in my recipe book it's called apple pie in a bag. It's my husband's other favorite pie. It's the recipe I got from his mom. You make an apple pie. The reason why it's so great, because so many people are really nervous about making pie dough. This one doesn't use a traditional pie dough. You press it into the pan, kind of like you would with this, and then it's got the apple filling and a really yummy crumble on top. You put it on a pan and put it inside a brown paper grocery bag and close it up, and you bake it for like an hour, and it's the best. I mean, let's see if I can get a picture. It is the best apple pie, and I always recommend it for beginners too, because here's a picture. Just because it's just so easy to make. So
Can I see it real quick?
yes. Hey, any other questions? That was good. Yeah. What's your
Okay, so the second question is like, what's your favorite pie to eat that you've made?
But I'm a chocolate person. We have a ton of baby pie flavors at Crust Club. That one right there is our raspberry cheesecake. I always go for the chocolate. Fruit ones are my last ones that I go to. Yes, those are great questions. I love it. That's the thing I love about pie, though, is there's so many different flavors, and you can do it in so many different ways that you're bound to please someone, right?
So you said you brought, like, how many of these, if we wanted to buy one of your chicken pot pies, do you have some here today we can buy, or do
I
you?
didn't, but
Okay.
if you live in our area code, it will be delivered to you tomorrow.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever made it with dark chocolate?
This pie, I've only done it with just the two, milk chocolate and semi-sweet. I guess it's just like when you find something you love, I'm like, I don't like to venture out all the time, so. But this will be good with anything. Anything that you love, you can get creative and switch it up. It'll work great no matter what you use, so. As long as it's good quality chocolate.
Have you ever added mint flavoring instead of vanilla?
No, but somebody you asked. I do have, where'd that book go? In here, which that would actually be really good. I do have, it's a little bit different, but it's similar. Okay, so it's this one right here. It's got the same Oreo crust. It's got a brownie base, and then this is a mint flavored whipped cream type thing. Yeah, it's a cheesecake. It's like a cheesecake whipped cream. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
So.
yes.
Could you use that same custard like if you were doing a banana cream or something, or?
This is the same custard I use for banana cream.
For the
I
base.
just don't put the chocolate in, but everything
Okay.
else stays the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
What other savory type pies do you do?
At Crust Club. Okay, so we have our 5 staple ones. The first one is the chicken pot pie, and then we have a barbecue mac. It's got mac. It's got a 3 cheese mac and cheese on the bottom, and then it's got pulled barbecue pork on top. And then we call it a roast beast after